그냥 가볍게 따라오면 돼. What I say, baby? Say my name, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
You
Okay, probably ready to start now. Alright, so first off, Tech4 asked if we could start with a sick replay he apparently had. So let's do that, I guess. And then after we're done Tech4's replay, we're going to head straight into finishing the rest of the All-Invitational Group A matches, and then we'll see how tired I am after that. Okay, forgot to switch over. Okay, so now we're in game. Okay, so spawning up here in the top right hand in the red, playing for all in, we have Tech4. Oops. And then the bottom left in the blue, we have playing Protoss. Looks like he's teamless. It is Jason. I actually need to change my mouse settings. 1 second, sorry about that. Okay. So this is just a ladder match, I believe. Tech4 said that we would appreciate this, and I hope he's right. Yeah, because it will be this is the pre-show to the Allinvitational X Qualifiers. I will be doing those. Tech4 just wanted me to cast this ladder game. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that. Right, so looks like Tech4 goes for a spawning pool immediately ends gas. And the hatchery down at this third base location. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, looks like just a gate nexus core coming out here for the Protoss player. I think this is a bit more like meta, or that's not the right term actually. This is a bit more like I don't know, it's like the thing of the month. The Protoss players do this where they just have the one probe on gas for quite a while. But yeah, anyways, this is what Protoss players are deciding to do in the current meta. Just lets them get up a decent amount of gas early on. And it doesn't really delay their tech choices that much. And I think it's a bit more economic as far as saturation goes. Because obviously, like, having anything above 16 is inefficient on your minerals. So ideally you want them mining minerals at other bases, but of course early on you can't have, you know, like long distance mining isn't going to be as efficient, so I think Protoss players just opt in to get decent amount more gas out early on. Okay, so Zergling Speed on the way, Adept on the way, and a Twilight Council. So, ZVP is one of the matchups I know the least about. Not the least. ZVZ is definitely that for me. I have no clue what goes on at all in ZVZ. It's literally just like hype casting. But CVP I know like... I know very little, I guess is the correct term. Okay, so it looks like Tech 4 is going into a lair. No other tech other than the lair just yet. Not sure if Tech 4 is going to be going into Hydras or if he's going to be going into Meatless. Those are what those are called. This Adept is going to come out here and check out what's up. Doesn't see any base here, but he should figure that there is a base over here at the third base. Adept Shade does go into the main. Pretty annoying for Tech 4 as it will be able to kill probably one or two drones. Yeah, I think it got like... I think it only got one there actually. It's kind of unfortunate. If he had targeted down, he could have killed two. But alas, decided not to. So we do have Glaives coming out here for the Protoss player. And he's getting up a couple more gateways, going up to 3 in total. I think that's pretty standard. Probably going to be taking his third base, sorry, shortly after. And third base just sent down there by Tech 4. What's this? An infestation pit? Could this be swarm hosts? Probably. Tech 4 is a player very well known for his swarm hosts, so I would not be surprised to see swarm hosts coming out here. And Jason, just kind of sitting on his side of the map. He doesn't really have a whole lot of scouting going on, so he doesn't see the infestation pit, especially this early. You should really be, as a Protoss player, worried when you notice that your opponent has this much gas. He's seen both of the gases mining fully, and he also seen the lair, so he should like know something's coming, but he doesn't know what. And he should be concerned about that. And this is going to be a lot of gas dumped in the swarm host immediately, whenever this comes out, probably. Unless Tech 4 just goes for something completely different. Some Lings actually getting into the main, that's very annoying. Meanwhile, over here, 5 Adepts are going to make their way in and just start picking away at this third base. They kill the Queen, not much else as of yet, and the first Swarm Host is on the way. Okay, what do we have as far as units go? So there's actually no fighting units on the map for Tech 4 other than these Queens right now. The Queens will do an okay job at fighting off these Adepts, but ideally, like, not ideal. And I'm not sure if they're... I don't think the Queens are targeting the Adepts either, which is something you also really need to do. Okay, so these Adepts will poke over here, and they should have seen that Swarm Host. First Swarm Host comes out, and these Locusts are... Oh, Locusts actually die really quickly to Adepts if we target them now. But so there's a lot of damage, actually. The Swarm Host killing probably about 2 Adepts there, or at least causing the death of. And so that's going to be the end of this harass. And now it's Tech 4's turn to put it to harass. He has his 5 Swarm Hosts, sorry, his squad rolling out here. Oops. Okay, and the Protoss player doesn't actually have a whole lot to deal with this at the moment. Only 3 sentries out, really skimping on the units. You really should have seen more Warpins coming in there for the Protoss player. Very greedy that he hasn't made any yet, and he still doesn't have a third base. No, never mind, I'm an idiot. He does have a third base, but anyways. these locusts are just going to come in. And these photon overcharges are actually really ineffectual here. They will stop these locusts from possibly killing that cyber core, but energy versus 3 locusts is, you know, a great trade for the player of the locust. Okay, so we've got a decent amount of Swarm House right now, up to 8. Tech Force down pretty significantly in Workers this game though, so he's going to have to try to do something to make up for that. And meanwhile, we do have a Warp Prism coming in here, and it is going to drop out a load of atoms, and they're going to get to work at these drones. And he's going to pick up a Queen now as well. First setup does go down, but we do have another warp in here of atoms in the natural from Jason. Tech Force not really reacting as well as he could be. These locusts have not been triggered here by the Swarm House. A bit of an oversight. And one of these Swarm Hosts actually might go down. Oh, never mind. She's going to actually shade them over here. And they're going to keep picking away at these drones. It's down to 30 drones already. Alright, some more Swarm Hosts coming in here, and they're going to start picking away at these atoms. And he's just going to warp right on top of these Swarm Hosts. That's pretty unfortunate for Tech 4. None of these Swarm Hosts have their locust up just yet. And lost quite a lot of drones. And finally the Warp Prism does go down, so this is going to end the harass for the most part here. And Tech 4 is a Roach Warren up now as well, going into Roaches as well. Of course, you don't want to make Swarm Hosts as a main army unit, in ZVP at least. Okay, so 4th base coming down for the Protoss player. The Protoss player has been up in the economy for quite some time. What is it, Control I? Yeah, you can see just the mining. The Protoss player is significantly ahead, almost double the income of Tech 4 at the moment. And these Swarm Hosts are really going to have to make something happen here for Tech 4. They're going to head across the map. Swarm Hosts look really weird. Okay, so that Mothership core does see them pretty much immediately. And just going to drop out all their locusts, and it looks like they're going to go pick off this 4th base. Tired it down really quickly. Nice cancel there though. Not going to lose the full amount of minerals. You know, we got another Warp Prism coming in here. Looks like it dropped off a couple of units. And charges on the way for a Protoss player. Very common upgrade to get in this matchup. Ideally going to that charged Archon composition, which can be very effective. Unfortunately though, we don't see any upgrades of the Protoss player. Even though they've been ahead in income for pretty much this entire game, they haven't really spent that bank. And that's really going to hurt this player going into the later game here. And another Warp Prism does go down. So pretty lackluster harassment here from Jason. Jason will be able to secure his 4th base now, maybe. And taking a 5th base here, right in vision of this Overlord. Tech Force Swarm Host hit squad, gonna go down. Gonna cancel that 5th, I guess that's the 5th base. I think it was, yeah, it was started after this, so this is the 5th base. And they're just going to chew away at those pylons. And some more locusts coming in here. Holy, those do a lot of damage actually. Going to pick off an art. Ooh, just barely not. But still, this is a really powerful army from the Protoss player. That's a lot of charge lots, that's a lot of Archons, and he's really spending that bank that he's been building up for most of this game. No, he should have spent that bank a lot earlier. Finally a Forge going down. I feel like this is very, very delayed, especially all these upgrades coming in. The Protoss player in this game, Jason, definitely could have afforded to spend all of the money that he had banked up for most of this game. Like, look, he still has a pretty big bank. But he could have spent that on upgrades. He could have had Storm it a lot quicker. He could have Charge out a bit quicker and Blink. And especially the +1 attack or armor upgrades, whatever he wants. But he still hasn't started those upgrades. He's really just not paying attention. Actually going to lose a couple sentries here. Locusts are picking them off quite easily. 3 sentries in the Zealot do go down. And that's pretty much for free. And it looks like this 4th base is not going to die, but is really, really low. I think this is like the 3rd or 4th Warp Prism coming into the game here. And it looks like Tech4 has decided against my kind words to not use Swarmhost as a main army unit, but instead has decided to use Swarmhost as a main army unit. And yeah, Swarmhosts do very well in consistent harassment, but in a straight up fight where there's no ground to give, the Swarmhosts are not going to be in a great situation. And almost going right past the other army here, both players not realizing where their armies are, and kind of going in haphazardly here. Alright, so it looks like these Archons and a couple of Zealots are going to head in here. Tech4 Swarmhosts are not retreating, so it doesn't look like he's going to be coming home anytime soon. I guess he's just going to ball up what units he has left. Not a huge amount of forces here to hold this off, especially this huge flood of Langs. Not going to work out very well versus the Archons and Zealots. Finally, though, we do have the Swarmhost coming home, and with the Swarmhost, I think he has a good shot at holding this off. And now we have the huge amount of Swarmhosts coming in. Really bad move command. They're allowing those Langs to do a lot more damage than they needed to. And that's one High Templar is going to get picked off. And really not enough supporting units with this army to make this work. And you see Swarmhosts are just chewing away, killing Archon after Archon, pretty much for free. And he lost 4 to 5 Archons there. That's a lot of Archons to lose. We do have a lot of Zealots being warped in, but I think he needed these a lot earlier. And Tech4's heading across the map again. Okay, Ultra's Cav almost finished here, just finished now. And we have a huge amount of Hydras and Roaches here. And they do have +2/+1, whereas I don't think the Protoss player has any upgrades. So these Immortals are going to be pretty weak. 70 Zealots. Finally, the +1 upgrades getting started here for our Protoss player. Really not doing the greatest of job in this game with his macro. He should have been producing a hell of a lot more with upgrades and units in general. Losing both the Warp Prism and all the units there. That's a huge loss. Going down to 50 supply to Tech4 at the moment, and Tech4 Swarmhosts are just going to march across the map. And I don't think there's anything here that can stop these. 11 Zealots were warped in somewhere, and some High Templars, but unless he gets really great storms and possibly onto the Swarmhosts, I don't think he can do this. Okay, so the Swarmhosts are going to go in here. No Locusts just yet, so they're not going to be able to attack at the moment. Just kind of neutral units running in here. And that's a huge amount of Locusts coming in here. Just going to start picking off at these gateways. Going to kill some Archons. Just doing a hell of a lot of damage for pretty much free. Bad idea to ever engage into this, actually, with how few units he has. Especially when it's on your side of the map. You never want to engage into Swarmhosts in the middle or on your side of the map. You ideally want to force them into your opponent's base and just make it so that they gain as little equity as possible the longer the game goes on. We do have a couple Zealots here chasing these Stormhosts away, but some Lings will come in and hold them off. And really, I don't think there's much Jason could do, even though Tech4's been on a lower amount of bases for the majority of this. Jason just threw away far too many units. These Immortals in the middle of the map here not really doing anything, and they're gonna get picked off. And this 5th base, sorry, is pretty much exposed. We even have Ultralisk on the way now, 2 of them, and Chitinous Plating. Some more power units coming out here for the Protoss player, some Immortals, some Archons, but no support, and that's really what you need in a Protoss army is you just need to complement each other. You need, you know, things like Zealots to tank, you need things like Archons to do some light splash damage and tank, and then you need the High Templars to just, you know, put a consistent high damage splash. They all complement each other in some way. But the composition and the amount of them that you build is really the crucial part. And some more Locusts coming in here, and they're going to pick off one Archon pretty much immediately, and they're going to start chewing away at these gateways. No, those overcharges are killing a decent amount of the Locusts, but like, that's ideally not what you want to see happen. 9 kills on each of these pylons, but it's all Locusts, so doesn't really matter that much. Does save a couple gateways, I guess. But I mean, Jason still doesn't really have a bank to work with. This is so damn dumb. I mean, I'm sure Jason would like to think that this remotes were OP, but he really threw away a pretty huge lead he had in that early game. I mean, that huge Archon Zealot army that he had that attacked could have been so much scarier with like +1/+1, or just, you know, more Zealot support. He just wasn't spending his money. Building a couple more gateways would have been so beneficial to him, and just to help spending the amount of money that he had, but unfortunately not going to be able to do that. These Immortals are going to come right here, and this is a long Storm House. Oh god, this is terrifying. One last desperate counterattack here, but I don't think it's ever going to do the amount of damage that our good buddy here, Jason, needs. I say good buddy, ironically, because I haven't who this guy is. Just in case you thought I didn't know him. I didn't. Okay, and this looks to be the last of Jason's forces. Wow. Stormhost strong. And Tech4 really playing a pretty good game, coming back from a pretty poor situation. And Jason. Oh, Jason. Jason. Okay, so time to get into the Allinvitational qualifier games now. So currently in our series, we're on Group A. We have Lumia with a win, we have Qualifiers with 2 wins, Tech4 with 1. So Qualifiers in top place, Tech4 in second, and we've got Lumia and then TBDD in placing in at the bottom. And I think, yeah, TBDD played 3 games so far, yeah, and so TBDD is out as of so far. TBDD is done. So we are going to be casting Lumia versus Tech4 today. That's where we left off. Okay, so coming in. Okay, whoops, I always forget to like tab back in. Okay. So, starting off here in the bottom right side of the map. That is right, because I looked at my hands and made an L with my fingers to ensure that this is the bottom right. In the red, we have our Terran player from All Inspiration. It is Lumia. And in the top left, in the orange, it is our Swarm Host abusing orange player. Playing Zerg, it is Tech4. Okay. See how these two players played this out. From Lumia's playstyle, I think we can expect either Hellions into Banshees or a 2-on-1. And from Tech4, I really don't know what we can expect. I mean, doesn't look like it's going to be the Ravager build this game. So I guess we can rule that out, as you did go for a hatch first. And yeah, just a Reaper Fast Expand coming out here from Lumia. So this is the boring part. Is there any way I can like get rid of this entire thing at the top? I don't know why this is here. 1 sec, sorry. Control Shift O maybe. Oh, there we go. Okay. And now we can do that. Oh my god, this looks so much nicer. So much nicer. Thank you, God. Okay, so yeah, now that we're done the boring part of the game, where I try to figure out things, now we can look. This is where the shooting happens, eventually. Not quite yet. Okay, here the shooting is going to happen now. There we go. Okay, so the Sweeper's just going to run around here. I really like the look of this map, but I just hate playing on it. I'm glad some of the players chose to play on this map. Oh, and unfortunate there, Tech 4 trying to be a bit sneaky there with his drone and force Lumia to kind of overlook it and think he was going for a 2-base play, and then he was going to run in and get that 3rd base down. But unfortunately, Lumia will delay that 3rd base for just a bit. Reaper will go down and that 3rd base will get planted. So in the end, not the biggest of deals, but just a small increase, I guess, in Lumia's happiness. That's something. Okay, so we do have a Roach one coming out from Tech 4. Oh, fuck me. So I've seen Tech 4 and a couple other Zergs do this a lot, and I never know what the hell is going to come out of this. Like, every time I see this as a Terran player, I just like freak out and build like 4 bunkers. And then like various things happen. I can't even remember. But yeah, we'll see what Tech 4 decides to do, if he's just going for more of a Roach Ravager based composition for this game. Gonna get out some Roaches and just defend the drops. As I think Tech 4 did scout. Lumia is going for 2-on-1. The build, the standard Terran build, where they shoot things and do damage. And so, yeah. A couple lings out here for Tech 4 now, and building 3 more Queens. So just getting ready for that 2-on-1. Okay, Tech 4 said safety from Hellions usually. So, yeah, I guess that makes sense then. Hellions are pretty flavorful right now. And looks like Lumia's just gonna wait a sec before he pops all these Marines in here and heads out. I don't know what he's waiting for. Okay, there we go. And he pops everything into the medevacs, and now they're gonna head out. 3rd CC is coming down behind us, and +1/+1. So just doing some macro stuff. Tech 4 still on 3 bases. I don't see a 3rd plot down anywhere just yet. And Tech 4 is actually building quite a few Zerglings. Normally I think you get around like 30, but this is probably exactly 46. And so this is going to be a lot more lings than you usually see to defend against this 2-on-1 drop. This could be used very offensively if Tech 4 holds this off and then decides to do a counterattack. Alright, so a huge amount of links come in here. No, oh no. A lot of those Marines actually got left behind, unfortunately, there for Lumia, so he will lose about half of that drop. And that really impacts the effectiveness of this going into the late game. And just like 5 Queens out here too, so these medevacs are not going to be able to do a huge amount of damage anymore in this game, I think. He's just going to have to pick up and leave. Still no 4th base here from Tech 4. I think the 4th base is a hard spot to get on this map versus a Terran. Like, there's this base here, it's pretty exposed. This base here, pretty exposed, especially if they like set up over here. This base here is pretty far away. I mean, there's just the 4th base is definitely, I'd say, the point of contention TVZ and probably TVP as well. I mean, I don't really play this map, so I don't know how the meta goes. I have this vetoed. But yeah, we just have a standard amount of bio out here. Some window mines. And Tech 4 is getting up his Baneley Nest and his Spire. So he will be going to do a typical Ling to Bane game. Lumia is still trying to do some damage here with this medevac. And he's doing a good job of picking up whenever his units start fighting, like what he did just there. I mean, he picked off probably like 1 or 2 Zerglings for the cost of some health, which is not a bad trade. 30 more Zerglings coming out here for Tech 4. No more drones on the way just yet. And it looks like Tech 4 will be taking this 4th base. Interesting. I guess I kind of like this one because it allows you to secure this high ground area first before you even attempt to take this low ground. And so we have a medevac running in here. And it's going to start dropping in the main base. 1 drone goes down already. 2, 3. Yeah, Tech 4 is not pulling the drones quickly enough, I think. A lot of damage going down, and that queen's going to go down as well. I'm not sure what Lumia is targeting, but I think he could have taken down that entire Spire if he was targeting as quickly as he could. So, just going to keep dropping in the back here. Force Tech 4's attention. This really allows him to start dropping, or just like, sorry, while he's dropping, it forces Tech 4 to pay attention to the drops. And that can do things like stop injects, or not stop them, but delay them. And just force Tech 4's attention away from creep spreading, among other things. Unfortunately, that medevac flying in the wrong direction, gonna get taken out as this was a no-fly zone. And I guess I'm corrected here. Tech 4 is not going for Ling to Bane, instead deciding on Corruptors. And a bunch of Widow Mines setting up here now at this 4th base location. This is going to be pretty hard if Tech 4 wants to transition into a macro game. I do not think that it'll be very easy for Tech 4 to hold the 3rd base versus any Terran pushing, or Terran pushes. Okay, so when Window Mine shot does go off there, not really doing anything, as it was only broodlings or whatever, or buildinglings. I don't know what they're called. I'm pretty sure they're broodlings, right? Not really doing anything. Oops, I accidentally just hit unmute. If you hear my voice again, you know why. Okay, so that's a decent amount of Widow Mines with this army, and Lumia is going for a long-forgotten upgrade called Widow Mine Dinosaur, or Crocodile Teeth, or something. Drilling Claws. And so this is an upgrade we don't really see very often anymore. And it's going to allow him to burrow the Widow Mines a lot faster. And versus a very heavy Ling Meta Bane play like we see, it really needs to burrow these Widow Mines. And huge Baneling hits, or sorry, Widow Mine hits I meant to say, onto this army, killing quite a lot of the Ling Bling. But at the same time, Lumia losing a lot of his army. And he's also behind in the upgrade game at the moment. I don't think we see no Hive just yet, so this means that Lumia will be ahead when the +3 comes around. And he also will have Drilling Claws, so this is going to help him out a lot. 4th base coming up. I hope Lumia decides to turn that into a planetary on location. That fight was not as bad for Lumia as I thought it was going to be, as he was able to kill off most of the Ling Bling, even though he did lose most of his bio. Alright, so he got a siege tech out too, that's interesting. I'm not sure if he got that earlier on. And we have a huge drop actually that I didn't notice in the main base. And it looks like Lumia is just going to target down some of these units. None of these Marines and Marauders are going to be able to get away, so he's just going to need to trade as well as he can versus the Ling Bling. Going to be very hard for him to split here with all the links coming in, but all the forces do get cleaned up. And finally, now we have a Hive on the way. +3 coming down here for the Terran player. I like this wall here. Very trendy. Tech 4's army is actually really lacking at the moment. I feel like if Lumia had kept his bio ball back at home and pre-split a bit better in the next engage, that he'd be able to you know, do a pretty good job versus this huge Ling army, as we only see like 5 or 6 Banelings with it. So it's going to be pretty tough. Okay, a lot more Banelings coming in now. Okay, it looks like Lumia will be in position. I really hope Lumia just controls his army a bit better. I feel like that's been the, I would say, crucial point in a lot of these fights that we're seeing from these Australian Terrans. I'm not sure if the ping is just too hard for them to micro on. I guess Lumia doesn't like siege tanks. Okay, so nice control click on the Marauders there, Marines, to force them to come up. And the Banelings pretty much run straight into all those Marauders. Unfortunately, losing his Liberators there. He's going to want to keep a high Liberator count, as we do have the Ultralisk Cavern coming in. And the Liberators will be his... sorry. Can't fake tonight. Or any night, really. But these Liberators will be his saving grace when it comes to dealing with these Ultralisks. And we don't see +3/+3 just yet for the Zerg player. Still on +2/+2. And these Corruptors are all pretty weak. Okay, looks like Lumia's going to head out here. I don't see any medevacs with this force, so I think that was actually kind of poor force of habit stim. Okay, so Widowmine going to go off, but these Banelings are connecting into a huge amount of the bio. And I don't think Lumia is going to be able to come back after losing this much bio. I felt he wasn't in a bad position in this game, but unfortunately that was too poor of a trade, I think, for him to afford. RIP. I think Lumia should have just kind of held back and macroed up a bit, get out some more medevacs, get out some more Liberators, and then you'll be able to deal with the Ultras. I mean, a lot of Terran players get in this mindset where they think that they need to do damage, but I think sometimes you just need to take a step back and understand the situation. It's really hard to, like, I mean, we all make those mistakes, but you really just need to have like a balanced army. And if you head out on the map without any medevacs, you have A, no chance of healing your units, and B, no chance of retreating with them. Zerglings catch out on, unsupported Marines and Marauders really easily on the map, and so it's going to be pretty difficult for Lumia to come back after losing so much bio on the map for pretty much free. Especially those Valiants have been so crucial in dealing with these. A lot of those Widowmines going down. Drilling Claws is out though, and a huge amount of Widowmine hits come down. And Lumia's going to try stutter stepping his Marines back, and they're doing a pretty good job versus all this Lung Bling. Advanced Ballistics here on the way, 3 Liberators at a time. And there's not a lot to support this Zerg ground army with only 3 Ultras on the field. About 60 Zerglings just popped. So they're going to come in here, and this is going to be a pretty formidable Zerg army. And I think Lumia, again, needs you to step back, take a breather. He is up in supply versus the Zerg. But unfortunately, I think his army control makes it very difficult for him to effectively engage the Zerg, even though he has a higher supply. Going to take out 1 Ultralisk, it looks like. These units really need to back up. Like, that's a lot of Marines that you cannot afford to be losing. This isn't a campaign. The Zerg doesn't have infinite resources, so you can feel free to just back off and save your units. But unfortunately, Lumia playing a bit too aggressive in this. Oops. And again, no medevacs on the field here. Like, Lumia really needs to just hold on and just build some medevacs, go outside, take a smoke, come back. Your medevacs will be done, and then you can come back inside and play a good game of StarCraft. But unfortunately, this bio is not going to be able to do too much, as no medevacs means this bio is going to be forced to give up a lot of its health if it wants to keep fighting. Tech 4 is up on about, what's that, like 6 bases at the moment? No, it's only 5, sorry. I thought this was like a base location for some reason. So he has a decent amount of economy going here, but Lumia has been on a decent worker count for quite a while, and he's on the same amount of bases as the Zerg player. And he's up in supply, which is very important to note. Lumia's macro is very, very good. In all these engages, he's been ahead in supply, but unfortunately not able to control his units, not able to either micro or pick the right fights. Mana Mule coming down here. Lumia telling Tech 4 to get out of his game, noob. Leave. And, yeah, with these Corruptors and just not a great army cohesion here, we see Lumia's forces getting picked off for little to really no resistance. These Ultras are just going to stomp through and eat up everything in their path. And I don't think Lumia has enough to hold off here. Again, no medevacs. Alright, so those Woodbine shots are getting pretty decent connects, but at the same time here, these Ultras should be able to really just deal well with these units. And it's almost like playing versus siege tanks here, since Lumia has no medevacs. You can just run in, make them stim, run back, and then they're in a worse position than they were, except this is in terms of health, not actual like unit positioning. Tech 4 is just going to keep coming in here, and I think Tech 4 should feel pretty comfortable at this point. Like, this is the first time in the game where I feel like Tech 4 has like the advantage. Another huge amount of banelings connecting there. Doing so much splash damage versus this bio. Lumia, man, you're making me sad. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. And yeah, Tech 4's Ultras are just going to come in here and A-move versus all these A-move Marines, and A-move versus A-move Ultras come in on top. And I think this is pretty much it for Lumia in Game 1. Yeah, I guess this was played on US West, and Lumia is Australian, so micro is frustrating, especially on high ping. Okay, so yeah, I just need to relog since pretty much since sorry, since these replays are in an older format, I have to relog every time I want to watch another replay. So sorry for typing. Whoops. Okay, so now we're loading into Game 2 here. Game 2 is going to be on Defender's Landing, and this is a best of 3. So, okay. Alright, so we have here spawning up in the sorry, in the top right side of the map in red, we have our Terran player, Lumia. And in the bottom left, we have our orange player, 4LN, playing Zerg. It is Tech 4. I mean, both of them are 4LN, but, you know. Okay. And this is the build. The one where you build the roaches and attack the Terran. Lumia should really expect this build. Honestly, if I was Lumia, I would just not even, you know, not even try to build a command center this game. Just get 2 gases immediately and build like 2 factories and tanks as soon as you can. Just rush out tanks like as fast as humanly possible. Because there's going to be Ravagers coming, and you know it's not going to stop. And which one does go down? Will Lumia see it? Yes, he will. Okay, so even though this build is spotted, that doesn't mean that this build is done. or sorry, that this build is like, you know, been thwarted by any means. It's still a very tough build to deal with. We see Lumia is reacting properly by building that bunker immediately and getting that factory out. Now, let's see, Lumia really needs to have a good micro to deal with this. And good micro is a hard commodity to come by. And unfortunately, those two Lings are actually going to come into the main here. And they're going to stop that. Oh, never mind. Looks like they don't stop that SCV from building that. But they're going to continue to be annoying. And unfortunate for Lumia not building a Marine as soon as he could. Marine could have dealt with those pretty quickly. And you really need, like, just Marines out as fast as you can. I think building the Tech Lab was a mistake. As, look, it did force 3 SCVs off the line and killed 1. And you need as many resources and as many workers as you can versus this build. Alright, so we do have the Tech Lab on the barracks, or on the factory now, and the tank coming out. A good response. And that tank should come out after a couple Ravager battles are down. So we do have 1 Marine out. He needs to get in that bunker, and there he goes. And he also needs Marines by it. Or not Marines, sorry, SCVs over here to repair. Because if the thing is, if those Ravagers get inside the base, then they do a lot of damage. You really need to pull a lot of SCVs to just consistently repair until that tank comes out. Because if those Ravagers just run up the ramp, like, it's going to be bad news bears. And that tank finally does come down, but these Ravagers can just jump right on top of it, even with the siege up. Right, so a bunch of SCVs have been pulled. Unfortunately, the Ravagers did not notice the tank sieging up there, so they could have dived on top of it. But for now, they're just content to just keep killing SCVs, and Tech 4 is currently ahead in the worker count. Looks like it's going to pick up the tank now, and Lumia's in a really bad position. Unfortunately, letting these Ravagers get inside his main base, I think Lumia's dead from this. That one Ravager can just kite these SCVs for days. Lumia doesn't even have enough minerals to build a single tank, and I don't think these SCVs can kill this Ravager. They will try, but unfortunately, Ravager's a good unit. You know? Yeah, MGD is called. And Tech 4 takes that series 2-0. Okay, now we're going to be moving on to the next set of replays. What do we got? So the next set's going to be Qualifiers versus Tech 4. Okay, so game 1 looks like it was on Odyssey, correct? Okay. So, I'm assuming this is the first game. And we have our Zerg player spawning up here in the top left in the orange. It is Tech 4. And in the bottom right, our random player rolling as Protoss. It is Qualifiers. So another PVZ from Tech 4. I've seen 2 of these tonight. I hope this one involves the same amount of oh, sorry. God, I keep forgetting that. Too sleepy. Okay, luckily nothing important happened. It's just like people building units and stuff. There's no cheese. Oh, is this game 2? My bad. Alright, well, I mean, we're here, so let's just make the most of it. Let's just... Yeah. Alright. So, next is coming down here from Polaquij. I think... Okay, yeah, that was Gate Nexus Core. So just slightly economic build here. I should really set up like a hotkey to just press to switch to overlays. I don't have one of those set up. I just keep like tapping out to swap between them. Oh, I'll do that some other time. I don't feel like it tonight. Alright. So yeah, both players just building drones and probes to mine minerals and make units and stuff. Nothing really important happening at the moment. PvZ tech choices always happen around a later stage because the early game is not as important unless you're going for a cheese. Whereas in, for example, like ZVZ or like ZVT, the early game is very important for the third player because it decides how they pretty much are going to play their entire game. But in PvZ, it's kind of like if you don't cheese, you just kind of macro up a bit and then you make a decision on how you're going to play. And we have the Twilight Council here coming down from Polaquij. I think in this tournament, this is the first game we've seen so far of her Protoss. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, we'll see how good this is. We've seen her play Protoss before in Thunderdome versus Lunif, where she busted out some mad mass void plays. Roach 1 here on the way for Tech 4. And a third base coming down. Robo facility here too. And a dank shrine. Kind of in a poor position, I would say. Like, that fits in very nicely with the minerals. But it's in a very easily scoutable location. Especially from a location that there tends to be overlords in. Like, there's an overlord right there. If he just, like, heads over here. Bam, Dark Shrine. But we don't have a layer just yet as for Tech 4, so no detection at the moment. And as I say that, Tech 4 builds some Spore Crawlers. And we have War Prism coming out here, probably just gonna be that very standard DT drop build that we always see. And I'm just probably gonna go into some Archons. It'll be interesting to see, I'm not sure if this qualifier game was played before or after that charge patch, where they lowered the cost of charge. I think it wasn't. But if it was, we'll see how that charge cost does play in this game. Overlord Speed's on the way too, so Tech 4 is going to try to get in some scouting, I'm guessing. Either that or go for his patented Bailey drops. 3 DTs over here. Gonna morph in one more, I guess, yeah, because we're gonna want to build multiple Archons. But they head over here. And only 2 Queens over here, that's not going to be enough to deal with these. Even though Dark Templars aren't very tanky, they still have plenty of HP to be dealing with Queens. And they pick off the only detection at this base, and they should be able to just pick off this base entirely. And I think Tech 4 actually kind of killed his own hatchery there. Or at least did a lot of damage to it. I think that was close enough where it did damage to the hatchery. Oh well. I mean, it's probably going to go down anyways, but... Alright, so we do have charge following this up. Just going to be probably some Archons, a couple of Mortals from the Robo Bay, and then a lot of charge zealots. And we have those DTs from the Warp Prism being morphed into Archons. Pretty common. Just gonna keep coming out here and try to get some damage done with these Archons, as they do have so much shields. So it's really easy to Might could have been the Warp Prism before they die and let them recharge the shields, as that's, you know, what Protoss units do, and Archons have like 300 shields. Meanwhile, Tech Force heading in on the map here. He does have an Overseer with his army, so Dark Templars aren't going to catch him off guard. He's going to run into this third base location, and we'll see what damage he can get done. He's putting a lot of Spine Crawlers in the main now, too. Okay, so Foot's on Overcharge does go down, but it cancels pretty much immediately because the Pylon dies. And a huge amount of Biles actually hitting one of those Archons. And this is a lot of Ravagers and Immortals. I'm sorry, Ravagers and Lings. I don't know why I said Immortals. Ravagers and Immortals. God damn, I keep saying it. Okay, this is a lot of Zerg Fangs killing the Protoss Fangs. And more Protoss stuff is happening, and the Protoss Biles are hitting the Zerg buildings. Oh no, oh god, what's happening? Alright, so Tech Force Ravagers are going to come in here, and they're going to hit these pylons. Almost kills the Mothership Core there. And this has been a lot of military units actually lost for both players. I think in the end, Polquij is in a better spot, since most of the units that she lost were just Zealots and a couple Archons. A decent amount of probes went down there too. And I would have liked to see Tech 4 just destroy the third base. I think he got a bit too cocky there going for the throat. But I think he I really would like to see him try to trade for this Nexus, because if this stays up, I think Polquij is in a good spot. But no, looks like this base will finally go down. And now's the time for Tech 4 to back up, I think. But it doesn't look like he wants to. Okay, a couple Biles just grazing those Stalkers. Honestly, I really feel like Tech 4 is in a good spot now. He should just back up. I mean, these Ravagers are so expensive. Just head back to your base, macro up, you know, get a better spot in this game. Denied the third base for quite a while. So it doesn't matter how many probes the Protoss player is ahead of you, he's not going to have good saturation. As we see, he's currently 6 probes over saturation, so he might as well be at like 42 to Tech 4's 44 drones. And I'd like to see Tech 4 expand down to here as well. Okay, a couple more Dark Templars being morphed in. Just going to turn them all into Archons, it looks like. Yep. And here comes Tech 4's army again. Looks like they're going to deny this third base if they can. I really feel like Tech 4 should just be targeting it down. I mean, it won't get cancelled regardless, but just every second counts, you know. And a couple more probes went down there too. And I'm glad Tech 4 expanded to where I suggested he go, because those gold minerals are actually really good for Zerg. That's pretty much a normal base, like in terms of minerals, I think. Yeah, it has 9 nodes of rich minerals. And Tech 4's army actually getting caught out here. No force fields going down just yet for Polquij, but we do have the Guardian Shield up, and these Ravagers and Lings are going to have a tough time dealing with this Protoss army. And it looks like all of Tech 4's units over here are going to die. And I think for not a lot. I don't think Tech 4 needed to take that fight, or should have. He should have just kept macroing up back at home. He has a gold base. Polquij just barely finished a third base. Meanwhile, Tech 4 has been saturated on this third base for quite some time, actually. Mining about 200 minerals for most of those nodes. So Tech 4 should have had the advantage for most of that. And he should have just tried to hold on to that. But unfortunately, he got a bit greedy there and tried to go for the throat. Now, there's going to be barely any of Tech 4's units here to defend this. The Hydra Den on the way now, but I think this is going to be too little too late. That Warp Prism does go down, but great force fields there. Force fielding all those Ravagers. And now these Zealots and Archons are going to have a field day destroying this undefended base. And I don't think Tech 4 has the ability to produce enough units to hold off the rest of this Protoss counterattack. Tech 4 canceling a couple of the units there. Polquij does come up here, and she will destroy this fourth base. There was barely any drones mining here, so it wasn't the biggest of deals. But still, everything counts. Some more Hydralisks coming in, as that Hydra Den did finish. Now we have a Ling run by coming in here to the third base location of Qualifiers. Looks like it's going to get fended off by this photon overcharge, or at least most of it. And here comes some more reinforcements, and those outs will clean up all those Lings. Ling Ravager is a very tough composition to make work, I think, especially in the current meta, as Lings don't work. Like, the reason Ling Ravager used to be good was because the Lings would surround the Protest units, and then the Ravager's Corrosive Violet. Kind of like the purpose that Infestors play when you played for Roach Ravager. Roach Ravager Infestor. But unfortunately, with how prevalent Archons are and how strong charge lots are in the matchup, the Zerglings just can't surround the Protoss army as efficiently as they used to be able to. Now we have the Archons and the rest of the Protoss army here moving up. A couple of Corrosive Dials hitting some of the units. But Tech 4 is cut out in the middle of the map with no retreat. And I don't think Tech 4 could take this fight or could afford to. And I think this is going to be it for this game. Charge lets do come in, and Tech 4 realizes his situation, and GG's called. Okay. After this series, I will be going to bed, as I am pretty tired. I say going to bed, but I'll probably just lay in my bed and watch Netflix or something stupid. But yeah, I gotta get some sleep. That way I can go to work tomorrow and then come home and do some more casting. Gonna try to, keep this late night casting going. Okay, so this time I'm not gonna forget to switch overlays. Oops. And there we go. Okay. I set that up pretty quickly. Wow. Okay, so here we have spawning up here in the top left in the orange. It is Tech 4. And in the bottom right, spawning as Terran, currently up 1-0, we have Qualifiers. So build Tech 4 decides to use this game. I think Tech 4 is probably going to be the kind of like the decision maker in this series, as he probably will go for something pretty aggressive or just something to set the tone of the game. I feel I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be aggressive, but just something that sets the tone. So it's going to be up to Tech 4 whether this is a macro game or whether this is Terran defending and all in, or what say you. I don't know how well Qualifiers plays her TVZ, so we'll have to see. And it looks like it's just going to be a Reaper Fast Expand here. That CC going to come down in just one moment. But Tech 4 did go for a hatch first in this matchup, so he will have a pretty, a nice little macro advantage. Probably have a couple more drones out than he usually might. Reaper finally heading across the map. Bone running. Okay, that Reaper's just gonna keep coming in here. Gonna pick off a drone. Looks like no nice, nice sport color trick there by Tech 4. Is that technically a trick, or is that just nice sport color building there? So I'm gonna just call it the sport color trick. That sounds a lot cooler. Looks like Tech 4, or sorry, not Tech 4. Poloquis is going for a 2-1 this game, whereas Tech 4 is going for a quick layer. So we could see Mutas or Corrupt. Is it a Tech 4 in this game, or really, you know, anything? He hasn't committed to a Baneling Nest, so he's not even set on Link Blink just yet. He could be going into Hydras. I mean, there could be a lot of things that Tech 4 is doing with this. I don't think Tech 4 suspects any mech play out of Poloquis. If maybe Tech 4 is thinking about going for Storm Hosts, but Storm Hosts are not very good versus Bio because Bio can just lift up and, you know, drop on top of your Storm Hosts after the Locusts are dead. But we'll have to see. So we have 4 links here out in the front for Tech 4. Gonna poke up at Scout in just a minute, I feel. And looks like it will be that Spire coming out of Tech 4. So we'll have to see if he's going for fast mutas. I feel like with how fast he got the Spire, there's definitely going to be fast mutas. But I've been wrong plenty of times. I keep being wrong. So we'll see what Tech 4 decides to go for. And a couple later Hellions coming out here from Lumia. This looks like it's going to be a 2-on-1 Hellbat timing. Pretty popular build for a couple months near the end of the Tank-a-Vac era. Of course, this build wasn't popular because of Tank-a-Vacs. It just happened to exist in the same time. But yeah, this build not really seeing as much use in recent times. But I still think it's a strong build. Normally you get about 4 to 6 Hellions out, depending on what you want to do. I think 6 is going to be the appropriate number, since it will probably time out about the same time that Poloquis' second medevac pops out. And also about the time Stim is done. So Poloquis can head across the map and do a pretty crisp timing. As you do see, the armory is down. We have 7 mutas on the way, and this Hellbat timing is going to do pretty well versus this mutalist opener. As the amount of Marines that they have, plus the Hellbats, that's going to be able to deal really good damage to the Lings, because Marines are great versus Lings, and Hellbats are also great versus Lings. And the Marines, if protected by the Hellbats, will be able to do insane amounts of damage to all those mutalisks. Okay, so the first 4 Hellbats heading in here. Still hasn't transformed them into Hellbats. I guess she wants to save as much time as possible. Finally, those transformations do go down, and Tech 4's third base is fairly exposed. He doesn't really have many units by it. He has a lot of Lings out now, and he has some units coming out. I don't know where most of them are though. Looks like they're in the map looking for units. And it looks like the Hellbats and the Zerglings are going to come and start fighting here. And all the Zerglings get cleaned up, and it's just Marines left. And they pick off 3, I think even 4 mutas there. Another muta about to go down. Nope. But still, this third base is done for. There's no way that Tech 4 can hope to hold against this. And this is a very strong timing here from Poloquis. And behind it, we have the third CC as well. This is definitely not all in by any means. This is a great timing push. It really catches the Zerg off guard when they're doing a lot of different builds. And unfortunately, Tech 4 going for the wrong, pretty much wrong build order that game. Going for these fast mutas is not going to do very well versus this Hellbat timing. And losing pretty much all but 3 of the mutas here is going to mean that Tech 4's muta count has been pretty much completely destroyed, and it is now. And there's definitely no coming back from this one. Marines are going to start killing all the drones, and GG's called. Poloquis going to take that game. Alright. So that's going to be all of our games for tonight. Thanks to anyone who was watching. Hope you enjoyed it, even though there was some slight user errors in terms of me fucking up with some stuff. I'll be on tomorrow night. Probably. No promises, though. and I'll try to cast Group B. Hopefully, eventually we can get all these qualifiers out of the way, and then, you know, start casting some of the actual tournament. But anyways, that's going to be it for me tonight. I'm going to go to sleep. Thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate it. Have a good night.